Hi everyone, Morgan Hibbs here with Linn County Farm Bureau. I'm so excited to be visiting you for another Ag in the Classroom virtual lesson. This month we are going to learn about beef. We are also going to learn about genetics and how genetics play a role in agriculture, why genetics are important, and how come farmers think about genetics when we're looking at beef and eating beef. Why would genetics need to play a role in the meat that we produce? So today's lesson has a few different activities with it, but before we begin, I would like you to listen to the read aloud story, or you can click on the link to read this yourself. It's called My Family's Beef Farm, and I would like you to learn a little bit about the background of raising beef cattle and how farmers raise beef here in Iowa. Now that you have had a chance to listen to the story, let's review some fun facts about beef cattle. So cows primarily eat grass and hay, but they can also eat corn, cotton seeds, and silage. So today I have a hay sample here. Hay is a type of grass that is mowed, raked, and baled into big round bales or small square bales. Farmers produce the hay or the grass in the summertime, and they make the bales, and that way they can provide roughage or grass to the cattle all winter long when the grass doesn't grow. Cattle can also eat corn. This is field corn. We primarily grow field corn here in Iowa. We only grow a little bit of sweet corn, the corn that we eat off the cob. This type of corn, field corn, is used to feed livestock like cattle and pigs. It's also used in over 4,000 different things in the grocery store, and it's used to make ethanol, which is a type of gas that goes in our cars. We harvest field corn at the end of its life cycle when it's in its mature stage. The combine takes the corn off of the cob, and then we have loose corn to feed the cattle. A lot of times we go one step further, and we even grind this into small pieces so it's easier for the cattle to digest. There are over 1,000 breeds of cattle. So today's PowerPoint, after you listen to this instructional video, you have a PowerPoint to review of the different breeds and why breeds play an important role in raising beef cattle. Cows can live to be around 25 years old. Popular beef can include the tenderloin, the roast, the brisket, the steak, the ribeye, and the sirloin. Cows are red and green colorblind, just a fun fact. Cows are likely to stay within the herd. They have a herd mentality, meaning they like to be together. Foods in the dairy group provide us with 75% of the calcium we need. An adult female is called a cow. An adult male is called a bull. A calf is a baby, and cows typically have one calf, but sometimes they have twins. Cows drink about a bathtub of water a day. Cows are herbivores, meaning they only eat vegetation. Cows are raised on every continent besides Antarctica. Beef marbling is what gives beef its flavor and tenderness. So beef marbling is the amount of fat that is in the meat. There are dairy and beef cows. Dairy cows specialize in giving us milk. Beef cows specialize in giving us meat. Cow's meat is called beef. And cows are ruminant animals, meaning that they have 4 chambers in their stomachs. People have 1 stomach and 1 chamber. Cattle have 1 stomach and 4 chambers. That's how they are able to turn this delicious grass into milk and meat. Okay, so I mentioned that there was a PowerPoint to go with this lesson. You don't have to be an expert on beef. I would like you to just review some of the genetic traits that can be passed down from the cow and the bull to the baby calf and why it might be important. So just like in dogs, there are so many different breeds of dogs. Raise your hand if you have a dog at home. My dog is a mix between a red heeler and a blue heeler. He's about as tall as this table, and he's pretty burly. Some of you might have big dogs, taller than mine even, maybe a Great Dane. Some of you might have small dogs. All of the dogs that we have are probably different breeds or different mixes of breeds. You'll notice in the PowerPoint that there are different breeds of cattle that have different hair color. They have different sizes. We mentioned that marbling is the amount of fat that's in the meat, and that provides the flavor for the meat. Some beef cattle are known to have more marbling, so more flavor to their meat. Some cows are more easy calving, meaning that they have baby calves very easily. They are very maternal. They are good mothers. And some bulls are more strong and more large than other types of breeds. So you have different genetics. Genetics pass down from the mom and the dad to the baby. So similar to how I have brown hair, that was passed down to me by my parents. I have blue eyes. Both my mom and my dad have blue eyes. So you have different things that pass down genetic traits from your family tree and then from your parents down to the baby. And so farmers look at this as an important thing to, when they're breeding their cows, to have new baby calves. And so there's just different traits that you'll notice from the PowerPoint. You can also combine traits. So if we live here in Iowa, we have really cold winters and we have mild summers. Or it can get really warm in Iowa too, but compared to like Texas is pretty hot compared to Iowa. They would need a breed of cattle that is heat tolerant, meaning that they don't mind the heat. They still grow well in the heat. They do well in the heat. For example, in Montana, Colorado, their pastures are a lot larger than they are here in Iowa. They have to travel long distances to be able to eat grass. And so you want a cow that is structurally sound, meaning that they have good bones and they are going to be strong to be able to walk. And if they are walking over rocks and things like that, they're not going to trip easily because they are balanced and have good joints and bones. So there are different traits that farmers would choose to look at when they are breeding cattle. So today we are going to create our own herd. And in this worksheet, you have this worksheet in your kit or online. We are going to look at some of the traits that could be passed down from the mom and the dad, so the cow and the bull, to the baby calf. There is a few traits listed here. We have the gender, horned versus polled. Horned means that they are born with horns. So if you notice in this picture, none of those cows have horns. That is a genetic trait. Most cows have horns in the family tree, but if you can actually genetically breed a cow to a bull that has no horns, so it was born without horns, or maybe the cow has no horns, then we call that polled. Polled means that they are born with no horns. And now, why would that be important? That might be important because if the farmer is working with those cattle, the horns can be dangerous to the farmer if the cow gets their head down. It's also dangerous to the other cows. If two cows get in a fight and one has horns, it can be dangerous to the other cows. And so we want to selectively choose a cow or a bull that has the polled trait, meaning they are born with no horns. We have black coat and red coat. That's just the hair color of the cow. And so just like how I have brown hair, you can selectively choose to have a breed. If you are choosing to have an Angus breed, there's black Angus and red Angus. And so just a different type of hair that the cow would have. There's solid coats and spotted coats. A solid coat meaning it's all one color, but you also noticed in the PowerPoint that there are spotted or pattern breeds. One might be red and white. You might have a black and white. So there's different solid versus spotted coats in the different breeds. You also have north and south breeds. A north breed would be good for here in Iowa. A south breed would be heat tolerant, meaning that they would do well in the heat. So you have North and South breeds. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip a coin for each of the traits. So we have head. The head side of the coin is going to be in this first column. And you also have the tail. So if you flip a head, you're going to be circling the trait that goes with that specific row. And then you're going to write it over here. So flip the coin to determine what genes your offspring will carry. Possible breeds for today's activity include the Hereford, Angus, and Simmental. And you will notice those in your PowerPoint. Okay? So I'm going to flip one. So for my gender, my calf is a female. So I'm going to circle the female and write female in this line over here. I got head again, so I got horned. So I'm going to circle horned in this first column or the second column and write it over here. I got tail. I'm going to circle now red coat. So I have a red coat calf, and I'm going to write it in the offspring trait. I got tail, so I have a spotted coat. And then, is it a north or a south breed? I have a north breed. So mine was a female. It was horned, so meaning it had horns when it was born. It has a red coat with spotted, and it's a north breed. Looking at the PowerPoint, so the teachers can pull that slide back up with those different breeds. Looking at those different breeds, I would say that mine, red coat and spotted, would be a Hereford breed, which is a red and white breed. And they can also have horns usually. Then you're going to color your calf picture with the traits that you selectively flipped for. And you're going to write your name. You, the farmer, have successfully bred. Guess the breed. And you can also name the calf, okay? So you can do this in partners. You could do this as a class. You could do this as an individual project. And as a wrap-up, all the way when you are finished with this, or while the students are working on this, you can be playing a Ball Family Farm Chat, which is actually a video of the farm I grew up on. And my dad and my sister, you'll be able to meet my twin sister Megan. They are going through and talking about how we raise beef cattle. It's an excellent video that will accompany this lesson that will give you a real-world connection to how it actually is on a farm and how we take care of the cows. Okay? And then, to wrap up, there's a review quiz looking at the difference between beef and dairy cattle. I won't review that with you, but it's here on the bottom of your lesson plan. And you can see how much the students know about the difference between beef and dairy cattle with a true and false quiz. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out and ask me, and I'd be happy to answer those for you.